What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today I will be reviewing probably my highest anticipated film of the year, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, which of course is the last film in the Star Wars sequel trilogy and closes the chapter on the Skywalker saga as a whole. Now, a lot of people are going to have a lot of different things to say about this as usual, and you're almost guaranteed to hear a lot of pessimistic, negative things, especially when it comes down to any Star Wars movie, because people just seem to have an idea of what Star Wars should be. And I'll admit that I also have an idea of what it should be. But it's an incredibly vague idea. I just want Star Wars to be an exciting space adventure where wars just might be occurring in outer space. And all of the Star Wars films thus far have had that. So I don't actually hate any of these movies, not by a long shot. Some are better than others though, so I wanted to know where The Rise of Skywalker fell in this infinite universe of cinematic experiences. Is it a movie that I will always hold near and dear to my heart, or is it about to embroil me in something that I don't want to think about? Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, embroil, to involve someone in a difficult situation. The Rise of Skywalker is about a lot of different things, but everyone is after Emperor Palpatine, who is, as it appears, actually alive, but is hidden somewhere, unable to be found. Our team of heroes must find a device called a Wayfinder, which will point them in the right direction. Wow, I don't even know where to begin with this film because it really split me down the middle. On one side, this Star Wars fan is beyond thrilled just to be able to sit here and tell you that I saw another Star Wars movie. If you watch my channel, you know that I don't watch many films in the theater, and I had a Fandango gift card since the time of Avengers Endgame stored in my wallet, and I knew the movie that I'd use it for was this one. Star Wars as a whole just means so much to me, and like I'm sure many of you, I don't want to end up being disappointed. But like I said, I was split down the middle, and on the other side of this split, I have the ability to look at a movie objectively and see the faults that it might have. And if you've seen or read any other reviews for The Rise of Skywalker, you probably know a lot of people aren't a huge fan of this movie. And as much as it pains me to say it, I fully understand where they're coming from, and I'll get into that in just a second. But my actual end score might surprise you. First, I want to get some negatives out of the way, and you'll know why I'm starting with the bad in just a minute. But first, I think we all have to attack the main issue people have been having with it, in which it often feels messy, clunky, over-convoluted, and just the main fact that there's too much going on all at once, and this is something that I mostly agree with. If you go back and watch my reviews of the other Star Wars movies that I recorded, probably, I think, beginning of 2018, I typically like the structure to stick to a 3 or 4 planet maximum, and in addition they can have as many scenes inside of a ship as they want. Most films actually stuck to this pattern, and as such they felt more contained and had much more of an acceptable flow to them for the fans than Rise of Skywalker did, which seemed to have 20 different planets, 20 different storylines or side missions, and the more of those that you have, the more the audience may feel an overall sense that the film may never end. This is an adventure film, and probably the most raw adventure seen in any of the Star Wars films, but I usually like adventures to give the audience more of an idea of where it's going. I'm actually in the middle of writing an adventure book myself right now, and I'm currently at the inciting incident, and I'm taking careful note before I write any further to rope the reader into what's going to happen next. I have a character that needs to do a certain thing, but before he can do that, he knows he has to get 3 or 4 or 5 specific items first. Typical story, right? But the hero knows where he's headed throughout the rest of the story and knows what to keep his eye out for. The same thing actually can be seen in Ad Astra. Brad Pitt's character knew what he was doing throughout the entire movie. The characters in Star Wars don't. They're trying to find the Wayfinder, but they have no idea how to do that. So they keep running into another clue that'll lead them there. And another clue. And another clue. And another clue. And the more times you do that in a movie, the more aimless you begin to feel, and I don't think all of those clues were warranted. Some of them felt like they existed solely for fan service. One of my other personal complaints with the film came down to the marketing. I'm still not okay with the fact that they revealed Palpatine when they did. It was always a part of the core marketing strategy, and that really upsets me. Can you imagine the jaws dropping on the ground if people went to see another Star Wars film not knowing what to expect, and Palpatine rounds the corner? Come on. But because it was part of the marketing, it was never a surprise, and it doesn't even try to be a surprise either, since he's revealed in the opening crawl. I just think there's just so much missed potential here, and that really aggravated me. But those are not enough negatives to ruin the experience for me. I wish it was a more contained film, had more of a similar flow that the other Star Wars films have had, but even the most convoluted story in the world couldn't change the fact that so much is done right in Rise of Skywalker. This movie's beautiful, potentially the most beautiful film in the entire series. The characters and their overall growth really came to a culmination here that worked and was just about as satisfying as the end of Avengers Endgame. The way that they were able to use the deleted footage of Leia was really impressive, even if you could tell what they were doing. I don't really think that bothered anybody at the end of the day. Plus, I don't think the story is that convoluted. It's rather straightforward. You know exactly where they're going to end up. It's got a lot of obstacles to get there. Also, J.J. Abrams wasn't allowed to just tell a story. He had to basically fix the issues people had with The Last Jedi first that they believe killed the series as a whole. I get it. It probably would have been difficult for anybody to pull off. But J.J. mostly did an impressive job with what he had. I started with the bad in my review because I wanted to end it on a good note, on what I think is the most important thing to take under consideration. That is, that this is Star Wars, and as it's Star Wars, it's not going to make everybody happy. It can't. Everybody has expectations on what it should be, and I feel like it did the best job it possibly could on making most of those fans happy, but it couldn't do everything. And I feel like this service to the fans is probably why it sometimes feels discombobulated to critics. I feel like you have to understand what kind of person you are before you go to see this movie. Are you somebody that relies heavily on structure and narrative, or are you a Star Wars fan through and through, just happy to see a Star Wars film? If you're the latter, the amount of fan service in this film will make you lose your mind with giddiness, which does affect your experience. What did I score Star Wars Rise of Skywalker? 93%, 93 out of 100 possible stars, granting it the letter grade of A. Yeah, like I said, I still really liked this movie. Certain things I wish were done a little bit differently, but first and foremost, this was a testament to the real fans. Not the fake fans that think they know what Star Wars is or what it should be, but the fans that don't care what it is and just want to see another story unfold in this galaxy far, far away. Anyways, let me know what you thought about The Rise of Skywalker in the comments down below. I'm curious where you rank this among the sequel trilogy as well as the series as a whole. If you're wondering where I rank this in the Star Wars series, I actually have it tied with The Force Awakens as well as another trilogy ender, Return of the Jedi, which makes me happy. But yeah, guys, other than that, for YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button if you like this review and would like to see some more. Like it, hit the thumbs up button because that always helps out my channel, and don't forget about that little bell icon because that helps notify you when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out!